Imagine you worked hard for 2 years to get to the final of a tournament, and when you reach the place which will be hosting the final, you're denied permission to practice. Well, something on similar lines has happened with the Australian cricket team. They are all set to play against South Africa at the Lord's Cricket Ground in the final of the World Test Championship final. However, they've not been given permission to train. At the Lord's facilities, and reason for that is the Indian team. Now, the Indian team directly doesn't have anything to do with this, but the organizers didn't allow the Australian team, and this is as carried by Fox News in Australia. Now, they're saying that the Australian team was denied permission to practice at the facilities of the Lord's Cricket Ground because the Indian team has already been practicing over there, and the organizers had given the facilities to the Indian team to practice. Now, remember, India will also be playing a test match against England at the Lord's, but that is the third test match, and we're still we're a long way off from that particular match. England and India do start with their test match series from the 20th of June, but the World Test Championship final is starting from the 11th of June. So if you're looking at which team should be practicing or getting the facilities, perhaps you could make an argument or make a case for Australia, because their matches their match is much before the India match at the same venue. However, the organizers decided to stick with the Indian team, and the Indian team continued to practice. Australia finally, though, after that little bit of a hurdle, it was on Sunday when they got some time and they got a look into the facilities, and they were able to be there at the Lord's Cricket Ground as well. But initially, that permission was denied to them because the Indian team was already there. Those videos you've all seen by now. You would have seen some of those reports on Sports Today as well as to how the Indian team has been practicing at the Lord's Cricket Ground facilities. There's this indoor facility where the Indian team has been practicing. We've seen the fast bowlers, the batters do some intense training sessions as well. The new fitness and conditioning coach, T. Dilip, the entire workforce basically is over there at the Lord's Cricket Ground facility and has been practicing for a while now. And the Indian team has had its plans in place for quite some time now. They were very clear that before the start of the series, they wanted to have 3 practice matches. One of them will be an intra-squad match which will take place from the 13th to the 16th. But the 2 other matches in which India A members are a part of right now, one of them is already over. The other one, as we speak today, is the last day of that particular warm-up fixture. So India had their plans, and perhaps that's why those permissions were also taken by the BCCI much before perhaps the Australian cricket team acted on the requirement of the training facilities, and that's exactly what has happened over here. So the Indian team continued to practice. The Australian team had to travel 3 hours away and look for a training facility so as to get their prep going for the WTC final.